Revolutionary greetings, comrades. We are coming to the end of 2022, a very difficult year for the working class in Zimbabwe. We have seen in 2022 the harassment of trade union leaders, mainly in the public sector unions. As we explained in the course of the year, that the public sector union workers in Zimbabwe, whenever they confront their employer for better wages and working conditions, they are donated to the opposition. The employer, who happens to be government, does not negotiate with the workers on the understanding that they are workers. Every time workers raise genuine grievances, the employer quickly donates them to the opposition as a strategy not to meet the demands of the workers. So 2022 has been a very, very difficult year for the working class. But because of this linkage between the working workers in Zimbabwe and the rural populace, this suffering has extended to the rural communities. The economy is not performing. People hardly managed in 2022 to have access to basic services. We have serious power outages in Zimbabwe. We have serious water shortages in major cities and towns. Workers are unable to buy basic commodities. Inflation is high. Yes, we have noticed some infrastructural developments, particularly at the Zimbabwe border post, the Bedbridge Harare highway. But this has not translated into economic growth, where the majority of the working people in Zimbabwe will celebrate. We have seen the arrest of union leaders who have been appearing in court on trapped up charges. We have seen the bill, draconian bill for that matter, that has passed by the Parliament of Zimbabwe, that seeks to curtail the work of civil society in Zimbabwe. We condemn all these actions by the Zimbabwean government. We have seen a strange thing taking place in the year 2022, where ZANU-PF, through its president, seek to mobilize as part of dividing the working class in Zimbabwe. Few in communities under what is termed Economic Empowerment Program, which is called ED. So this program by ZANU-PF is focusing on dividing the working class, and they try to appear as if the whole society of Zimbabwe loves ED, Emerson Mnangagwa, though they camouflage it as Economic Empowerment Program. But it is a campaigning tool which seeks to divide the working class. We have seen what is called the Teachers for ED, Pastors for ED, Women for ED, Young Graduates for ED, and so forth and so forth. This seeks to divert our attention so that we do not focus in advancing the struggle of the working class in Zimbabwe and appear as if Iding is a popular leader. So 2022 has been a bad year for the majority in Zimbabwe. We have seen the visit by the Commonwealth Secretariat to Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwean government, as part of trying to end international isolation since 2000, is applying to join the imperialist organization as led by now King Charles, the head of the British monarch, who is the head of the Commonwealth. So ZANU-PF government wants to return to that imperialist fold. For it to appease the Commonwealth leadership, it has committed itself to compensate white commercial farmers to over 3.5 billion US dollars. Money that should be used to rebuild the economy of Zimbabwe. 2022 have seen political leadership of various political parties being arrested, intimidated. Honorable Job Scala is in prison over 6 months now. MRP 9 activists are in prison. All these things happened in 2022. We saw the political violence during the by-elections in Matabele South, in the Midlands province, and in other provinces. And we have said this has built up to what is likely to happen in the 2023 harmonized elections. The suffering in Zimbabwe cuts across the board. It doesn't matter you're a member of ZANU-PF or a voter of ZANU-PF, you're a member of the opposition. We all buy in the same shops. Everyone is suffering in Zimbabwe. But of course, the political elite and their families continue to live in luxury when the majority of Zimbabweans are suffering. So 2022 has been a difficult year in Zimbabwe. We are a few hours away from 2023. Some of you, when you watch this video, who are likely to be in 2023, we are then going to spell out what we think should happen as guided by our program, Completing the Liberation of Zimbabwe. We will, in the next few weeks, outline our own vision, particularly in addressing the energy crisis. People go for about 18 hours without electricity in Zimbabwe. The Zimbabwe Communist Party has put up together a team that is doing a scientific analysis on the energy crisis in the SADC region, and they offer solutions focusing on Zimbabwe. We therefore wish you a prosperous 2023 under the difficult conditions. Because what has been happening in 2022 is likely to continue in 2023. But this calls for the unity of the working class and peasants in Zimbabwe. We salute our commissariat department that is working with the trade unions to intensify political education inside the trade unions in Zimbabwe. And we hope that this program will continue in 2023, not only focusing on the trade unions in Zimbabwe, but on civil society, residents association. I'm wearing a t-shirt. At the back of the t-shirt, unfortunately I can't turn around. It says, without revolutionary theory, there will be no revolution. So it is our revolutionary task to carry out political education and to encourage comrades to read. We produce literature meant for comrades. We are being assisted by our comrades in South Africa to print this literature, some of which is educational material, some of which is the party literature, which we distribute in Zimbabwe to the trade unions and the other stakeholders for us to have an understanding on the nature of our struggle, not only in Zimbabwe, but internationally. As I conclude, we see what is happening in Eastern Europe, the imperialist war. And a part of the challenge that we have is that the majority in the trade union movement in Zimbabwe, they want to analyze the conflict in Europe, Eastern Europe, in Ukraine to be specific, through imperialist lenses. Some comrades have become accustomed to believing Western media, their analysis is shaped by Western media. And there are those, of course, ultra-leftists who will condemn us when we stand with Russia in calling for the dismantlement of NATO. These ultra-leftists, they will argue without any concrete scientific analysis and simply say we condemn the war, whether it's Russia, whoever is involved in war, we condemn the war. That's a pedestrian analysis. We've explained what is happening in Ukraine. We've done videos. So it's important that when we give solidarity to the victims of this imperialist war, we do so with a deeper understanding, a scientific understanding of prevailing conditions in Eastern Europe. And we see what fascism is doing because we need to analyze the release of the killer of Comrade Christian as triumph for the fascist movement globally. And we must, as communists, resist this. The fascist movement is gaining ground through the release of the killer of the former General Secretary of the South African Communist Party. We must continue to work with the comrades in the Democratic Republic of Congo to end the conflict in Congo. We must strengthen our ties with the Communist Party of Swaziland to end the Tinkudla system in Swaziland. We must strengthen our ties with international meeting of communist and workers' parties in Africa as part of building what we have called Africa Left, though of course I will discuss with the VC of the Communist University. He has a view on what we call the left axis. He has a different view. I can't remember the notes that he posted. But we must build this unity as communist and workers' parties in Africa if we are to defeat imperialism in the continent. As I said, and concluding that it's critical that we build unity of the working class and peasants in Zimbabwe, mobilize the diaspora community to participate in the struggle as we complete the liberation of Zimbabwe. It's important that all of us participate in the electoral process. This is why we've been running a campaign that all of us must ensure that our names are on the voters' roll. We will then be discussing in early 2023 on how we should approach the question of elections in Zimbabwe. So as I conclude, we call on all of us to visit the offices of the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission to register so that we vote in 2023. Please share your views, write in the comment section, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Amandla Comrades.